hello. I am getting ready to cook dinner tonight. So tonight's yumminess will be the Creamiest mushroom ravioli with Parmesan and heirloom grape tomatoes. It is a HelloFresh dinner, a vegetarian. It's something that I kind of like. I can choose to add in some meat or just keep it as a vegetarian. Lately, I've really been on a kick of vegetarian, so I'm really liking this. So we're going to go ahead and start. It gives you all the instructions on the back. HelloFresh sends you a bag like this with all these really cool ingredients on it that you'll get a chance to watch me chop up and cook and then make into this really good dinner. So far, out of all the dinners that I have made with HelloFresh, I have yet to find one that I do not like, which has been quite a blessing for me. I'm a pretty picky eater. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick and then we'll get over here and start chopping up the shallot and tomatoes and mushrooms. I'm gonna go ahead and turn down so you can see what I'm doing. Okay. Always like to start with clean hands, clean utensils, all that fun stuff. So we'll go ahead and get you turned over this way a little bit. Forgive me, this is my very first cooking show on my YouTube channel, so I'm still kind of learning. I really appreciate all of you guys sitting here watching me. If you have any questions, DM me, message me, let me know. If you have any suggestions, I'm always open to suggestions. Usually with the recipe, I will stick to a recipe the first time around, trying it out, and then after that, I tweak it to my flavors. There are a handful of times I have immediately started changing the recipe as I'm cooking it on the first time. And especially if it has anything to do with seafood, it's out the door. Seafood is a no-go in my home. I'm severely allergic to it, so I don't cook with it. I don't cook with things that are produced with it. With my soy sauces, my Worcestershire, I've got to be very careful because they normally have anchovy paste in it. So I just have to kind of watch that kind of stuff. All right, so here we go. Right now what it does, I've already washed and dried my produce. So I've got my shallot. I've got some tomatoes. I did pick up some more tomatoes. My home kind of likes their tomatoes, and then I went ahead and picked up some mushrooms. And the only reason I picked up mushrooms was because I had waited a tad too long with my HelloFresh, and the mushrooms were kind of yucky looking. So just to be on the safe side, I went ahead and chose to get some fresh mushrooms. But otherwise, the only thing I would have added into this particular meal would have been olive oil. It's the only thing it calls for extra that they don't send. And normally it would be a little bit of salt, pepper, water, olive oil, butter. Those are the only ingredients I have had to include with the meal, other than what HelloFresh already sends you. So pretty simple in my eyes. Okay, so right now I'm gonna half and peel the shallot, which I've already halved it. I peeled it earlier, and then I'm going to thinly slice it. So I have never been a professional chef. I do absolutely love cooking. I do absolutely love baking. I have children of my own, so I've cooked a lot in my lifetime. And then when my grandmother was alive, she used to teach me how to do things all homemade, which was really yummy. All right, got a little bowl for those. those aside. And then we've got the tomatoes, and all it does is says to half those. So with these guys, I'm gonna grab a paper towel because this has got holes in it, and I'm gonna just lay that on top of the paper towel so I can throw the tomatoes back in. Nice. Again, sorry. Hopefully, as we move on with these little cooking shows, I'll end up with a tripod and I won't have you guys falling over. And I'm trying. Right now, I'm using the paper roll dispenser. All right, so all I'm doing with these little tomatoes here, which are quite a few of them, different, just splitting them in half. Very easy, very simple. They're little, so work with a sharp knife, or once in a while, and this is a little trick my grandma told me, was if you have a more ripe tomato, so a more squishy tomato, use a serrated bread knife because it slices through the skin rather than mushing it down as you slice. And this doesn't take very long. This looks like it's about a 30-minute dinner, about a 10-minute prep time. So I would say, again, most of the prep time is going to be chopping up these veggies. After these tomatoes, I've got the, the mushrooms to chop up. And then there's roughly about 20 minutes or so of cooking. So not too bad, not too bad. They did send parsley, and again, I like a little bit more, so I did pick up some more. My parsley from the garden is all gone, so gotta wait till next year, or what I have here in the house is fairly hibernating, so I don't have enough to start pulling off of my own plant. So I did pick some up from the local deli here. And really what you're going to use your parsley for is just for garnishment. It's nothing real big. But I do like to cook with it, so I picked up just a little container of parsley, organic. This stuff is really good. It tends to stay fresh. I know it says 4 weeks on here. I have had it, last up double the time, so last up to 8 weeks before it started getting a little funky, and then I tossed it. Normally it doesn't last that long. I kept it because I wanted to see how long I can. This is lightly dried. There are times that I will take it and I will finish drying it out, and then I'll put it in my cupboard in some extra jars that I keep around after I've used herbs, so that I can use it again. I really, really hate wasting food. I really hate wasting herbs, so I try my best not to do that. All right, now that these tomatoes are cut, we'll move them over here and we'll get these mushrooms done. In here, I just, they're cut, they've already been washed, but there's a little bit of the stem that tends to get hard after it's been cut, so I just kind of chop that off. Sometimes recipes that I have call for no stem whatsoever, and I take the stem totally off. But I am personally just learning how to like cooking shrooms, and I'm still kind of wavery about the taste. I've had some of them that are really good, and they don't taste dirty or fungy or nothing like that, and then I've had some that are just absolutely foul, and it makes me think, why did I just eat this? And so definitely watch. Each mushroom really does have a different taste to it. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that if you're not big on very earthy tastes, very what I consider dirty or like dirt tasting mushrooms probably aren't going to be your forte. And excuse my Pandora playing in the background. I do pay for it, so I feel like I can listen to music as I'm cooking, whether I'm on my channel and live or not, and you know. And you guys will have to tell me as I'm cooking and we go on if that's something that you guys don't want to listen to. Then I can absolutely cook in silence. Just kind of go from there. Okay, and we're just slicing these mushrooms right about 1/4 of an inch. They will, you know, cook down and get softer. So you want to give it a little bit of girth, I guess you could say, to it, rather than a very thinly sliced mushroom that'll just basically dissolve as you're cooking. Okay, and the last mushroom. There we go. All right, so that's the last of the cutting. I'm gonna go ahead and put my cutting board and my knife over by the sink. And we're gonna get started to cook the veggies. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick my stove on. And as some of you guys already know, I cook with the fire with a gas stove. So I tend to stay on the lower end of the recommended. When they say do medium high, I tend to stay on the lower end of medium because it is fire and I am cooking. So, and while we're doing this, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this pot of water on real quick. We're gonna get that ready for the ravioli. So, here's my kosher. I use kosher shallot when I cook. I don't know, it's just something my grandma always taught me to use. Gives it a better taste is what she used to say. Or I will use pink Himalayan as well. I really enjoy that. All right, so I'm going to I went ahead and threw in some olive oil, and as that starts to heat up a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and throw my onions and my mushrooms in there. So. Handy dandy tongs. All right, so now that we're heating this, again, it says over medium-high heat. I am on the lesser end of medium. And then I will go ahead and start the mushrooms. And after about 5 to 7 minutes is what it says, we'll go ahead and add the shallot and a pinch of the chili flakes that they've sent. So, which is kind of cool, you know, they send everything. As well as, which is really nice, is you've got your ingredient list over here, and it will tell you, depending if you got the 2-person or the 4-person, it will tell you, let's see, can you see that real good? Okay. it'll actually tell you how much you need of each. And then it also will have an ingredient list down here, which is nice because HelloFresh sends these really killer recipe cards, and you get to keep them. And in giving you the actual, you know, how many cups, how many ounces, how many, you know, ingredient list, and the amount, it gives you a chance to remake these, and you can remake them on a bigger level, which has been really nice. I have a taco casserole that they sent me that I can make, and I have made on a number of occasions. I went ahead and made some bigger portions of it. It's a big hit with the family, so. Okay. We're just going to toss the mushrooms in here with the olive oil. Get them coated pretty good. Get them cooking. Again, like I said, it takes roughly about 5 to 7 minutes to do this. Okay, and in doing so, I'm going to add a little bit more olive oil to this. And we'll go from there. And you just want the mushrooms a little bit brown. You don't want them real dark. You don't want them fully cooked because they will continue to cook as you're cooking the rest of your items in. So I don't like my mushrooms really mushy. So I mean, I don't want them really gummy either. I like a little bit of what I consider a crunch. And it's more or less, you know, I like something substantial to actually like bite into rather than go to bite and it just mushes in your mouth. I don't like that at all. So, and what's been nice is learning to cook myself has given me the opportunity to find out what I like and what I don't like, and then play with those flavors and play with those textures. You know, like I said in the beginning, I'm really just kind of learning mushrooms. All growing up, I refused to eat them. I absolutely refused to eat them. And now as an adult, I'm slowly gaining into it. I still have a little bit of an issue eating stuffed mushrooms. I haven't really got the taste down, I guess you can say. So, but it works, you know, it works. Okay, I'm gonna let that go for a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and start opening my stuff. Okay, got my chili flakes. Okay, stir this again, and then I'm going to get ready to add my shallot. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay. Now we're going to finish cooking this up the way this is, and we're going to do this till about the shallots fairly tender. Again, you don't want them mushy, but you don't want them very crunchy either. And that takes roughly 2 to 3 minutes. We'll add in some chili flakes. I can't add very much chili flakes, so I'll add some more into mine a little bit later, only because Agent Green doesn't deal with heat very well. So okay, go ahead and let that melody a little bit. I just threw a mushroom on the floor. Thankfully the dog's not inside, so I don't have to worry about her freaking out and trying to get it under my feet. All right, so I'm getting the water to boil, and once the water boils, we'll go ahead and toss in this ravioli here. This is what they sent. So the fresh mushroom ravioli is what they call it. And what this says is once the water is boiling, add the ravioli to the pot, cook until tender and floating to the top about 4 minutes. Carefully scoop it out and reserve roughly about half a cup of pasta cooking water, which is always because you need that starchiness to add in. Once I get ready, I will start making the sauce, which is slowly cooking up with this mushrooms and shallots. I'm going to put these in one by one because I don't want them sticking to each other. That one wasn't sealed too well. Okay. Go ahead and let that cook for about 4 minutes. As we're going to finish up the, the mushrooms. I almost called them, I was like, the fungus. The mushrooms and onions, because it's starting to go. So now that this is gone, I'm going to lower the fire a little bit. Everything's getting real well melodied in here. The smell is amazing. Probably one of my favorite things about cooking is just the smells alone. So now that this is all softened, the shallot, we're going to go ahead and stir in the tomatoes into the pan, and then we'll reduce the heat to very low. So right now, again, it's on the lower end of medium, but I'm going to drop it all the way down to like a simmering low. Let's go ahead and incorporate these guys. I'm loving these colors. Very fall, very festive. Drop that all the way down. Okay. Now as that cooks slowly, we're going to go ahead and get the sour cream ready. So what we do with the sour cream, we've got veggie stock, sour cream. I've actually got 2 sour creams. We will end up putting them into the pan, and that'll also go with the boiling water that we are getting out. So I need to grab my scooper real quick. It's just over here. This really cool scooper. It actually came with my wok, but it works great for ravioli. Absolutely great. And all I'm doing is just slightly dunking the ravioli and kind of turning them over so that they can get cooked all the way around. Okay. So I'm just stirring the ravioli, stirring the mushrooms and tomatoes and onions, just kind of getting everything to mesh together real well. Okay. Increase the heat a little bit just to cook those tomatoes. Everything's looking great, smelling wonderful. All right, raviolis are looking great. I'm going to go ahead and start putting in the stock and the sour cream into our mushrooms. And again, this is a veggie stock that HelloFresh provides. And once I mix these all together and add in that pasta water, we will also add in half the Parmesan cheese that they sent. Yummy. Alright. Dump those guys a little bit more. I'll go ahead and get some water. Looks like some of my raviolis may have busted open and okay, so we're just going to slowly mix this in and get everything to go and meld together. I'm going to add a little bit more pepper. I don't add in very much salt just because Agent Green can't have a whole lot of salt since the stroke, but I do like my pepper. And then I have to watch because pepper tends to be a little too hot for him. So I can only add so much, and then anything else I need to add on myself after I've done cooked. But I do cook with a little bit of spices just so that it gives the food some oomph, nuttiness. Okay, I got about half the Parmesan. And I am a huge cheese person. Normally I would put more in. However, I forgot that I needed some extra Parmesan today. So I didn't pick any up when I stopped by the store after work. So we'll just do with what we have. And really the only thing extra in this pan would be those tomatoes. It's not doing anything else. So we're gonna go ahead and let this thicken up, and we're gonna take care of these raviolis and pull them off. Right out of my spoon. Okay, raviolis, yay! They look delicious. Okay. Now that this is going, I'm gonna go ahead and take these raviolis and add them into the pan. And then everything will just mesh right in here. Okay, and now that this is done, we're gonna go ahead and mix the ravioli in here. And once it's mixed, you're gonna take the rest of your Parmesan cheese, go ahead and put that on top. Before you do that though, you know, you wanna let this thicken up a little bit. So once it has the raviolis in there, you just let it thicken up a bit. And then afterwards, you'll add in any extra chili flakes that you'd like, the Parmesan cheese that you'd like, and throw in those parsley. So we will go ahead and get this all taken care of, and then I'll post a picture on the finished product. I hope you guys really enjoyed yourselves. I know that I always enjoy myself. So let me know if you have any other suggestions. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm an open book, and I will do everything I can to answer your question. If I don't have the answer, I will research it until I do. So again, thank you all very much for joining me to cook this meal tonight. Have a lovely evening, and I look forward to seeing y'all again.